Overall, from a performance dietitian's perspective, for this full day of eating for professional footballer Matt Sheldon, considering this is COVID times, it's quarantine times, it's like 2020, the total amount of calories eaten for this day for the professional footballer that's 170 pounds, that's 6 foot tall, using the Harris-Benedict equation and putting all of this in, 3,000 calories is spot on. However, my only critique here is unfortunately that the total amount of carbs eaten for this day is that it's a little bit too high. From the literature that we know that when it becomes low intensity, you're not going to be doing as much high intensity sprints or training, for example. We can drop down the amount of carbs to around 3 to 5 grams per kilograms of our body weight per day. So for someone that's 170 pounds, this is roughly around 230 grams of carbs per day. During this time of like recovery, not a lot of full training, it's just a bit of light gym work, for example. Looking here, 274, and yes, unfortunately, the performance dietitian I didn't want to is going on into his dessert here, but I'm not saying the dessert is bad. Look here, let's have a look around here. Look, if we cut down the 44 grams of carbs, now you're already down to 230 grams of carbs. Easy. But let's try and not just pick on the dessert. That's just the easy way out. And I am not like that. We love our desserts. Performance dietitians, we won't cut out what you love. So let's have a look around here. So for example, there's another whopping 76 grams from just a simple serving of 2 servings of Ritz chips. There's high amounts of carbs here. This is even higher than your dinner meal here. It's even higher than your dessert here. This is the highest amount of carbs somehow. And I think most of it is coming from the chips here. So what I would suggest around here is just around meal 2, meal 3, you've just come back from the gym here, is that you have a bit more of the protein. So unfortunately, a protein shake is not a complete meal. It's a supplement. You're using more of your protein powder here, so this is a supplement drink. So if you could substitute this, cut this right down and instead pick 2 cans of tuna or some protein, steak, chicken, pork, lamb, whatever you fancy, and have that instead of this with a bit of veggies, super low in carbs. It's just pure protein and a little bit of fiber, for example. We're going to cut down the amount of carbs you're having there drastically. By doing so as well, you're going to probably feel more full. So then when you go into your dinner meals here, instead of having 2 servings of white rice, you might find yourself having 1 serve is already going to be enough. And instead, you could maybe add some sauce to that meal, maybe even an extra piece of salmon. I know you've already got 2 pieces of salmon on your plate here. Let's check it out. 2 servings of salmon already here. I think it is. Let's just check the last one again. A 10-ounce salmon. Sorry, I don't work in ounces. But anyway, if you've got 2 pieces of salmon, bro, you could have cut down the white rice, maybe add a bit more veggies to it instead of just asparagus, some carrots here, maybe an extra piece of salmon as well, or some tuna, maybe a bit of ham or turkey, some extra protein here as well. And then by doing so, you're going to feel more full during dinner time too. And then maybe you're less likely to want to go for more chocolate chip cookies. So for example, instead of having 4 chocolate chip cookies, that might drop down to 2 because you're already feeling quite full, for example. So that's the trick here, you know, and it's also a weight loss strategy. Not saying that Matt Sheldon here is trying to lose weight or anything, but protein is king. Not saying that carbs are dead or anything like that, but you know, protein does so many wonders, not just to keep you nice and strong, but it helps keep you really full. So if you were to put another serving of protein around here, drop the amount of carbs and have more protein around here, whoa, you're probably going to be able to drop the amount of carbs around here and drop the amount of carbs around here. So then you won't have much carbs during the whole entire day. One of my favorite meals from Matt Sheldon in this video here is, of course, the dinner. The salmon with asparagus and white rice. Let's have a look here. What did it look like? Boom. That's the asparagus. Boom. Look at that. The salmon. Great color in it. And I think he just popped it in the oven And with a lemon slice on top, bit of seasoning, you fried off the asparagus and easy rice. Simple. Minimum effort, maximum satisfaction. Thanks, Gino De Campo. This meal, super healthy, balanced, awesome. The only critique I'd have again is that, yeah, on your plate here, Matt Sheldon, the white rice, look, I would put this as like a pre-match serving. Even dropping another, if it was pre-match, I'd drop a piece of salmon, have more carbs, for example. But this amount of carbs, you just don't need to have that amount of carbs during that peak of COVID time and that quarantine time when you're not doing as much high intensity training. More protein, substituting high GI carbs for low GI carbs, so less glycemic load, for example. It could very well substitute the rice for potatoes, for example. Those are my picks from a performance dietitian's perspective. Love you, Matt Sheldon.